we're going to talk about some spark plug problems and maintenance again. I know I've mentioned this one before, but I just want to show you some things that I think really get overlooked on inspections quite regularly. And that's testing spark plugs for resistance. Where this will show up over time is your engine will be harder to start. You won't notice it. Idling it hot is sometimes a problem. And sometimes you'll actually get some backfires in flight, especially if you end up with two bad plugs on the same cylinder, which was the case in this particular airplane. As it entered the pattern, I could hear the engine backfiring every once in a while. And so, we started pulling out plugs, and on one cylinder, another indicator of a plug that is problematic is the plug will look wet. A plug that is firing properly will look nice and dry, almost charcoal colored, and you can wipe it on a piece of cloth or your hand and you'll get some gray matter off of it. That's for a properly, set up fuel mixture on an engine. In this case, by the time I got to the airplane, somebody was convincing them that they had a bad cylinder, hence it was an oil-fouled plug. And I said, hold on a second, let's check some things. And so what you want to do is actually check plugs for resistance. I'm going to show you here, if you look at the meter, here's a plug that is good. A good plug should be somewhere between 500 and 2,000 ohms. Here's one at 1.2 k ohms. All right, so this is a good plug. 500 ohms is the lowest, okay? And even though all the plug manufacturers will tell you 5,000 ohms is good, we find the engines are really hard starting, especially when hot, if you have a plug that's between 2 and 3,000 ohms. So we'll replace them between 2 and 3,000 ohms. Here's another one on the same engine. Okay, you can see there, we're right in the 2.8, 2.7, so between 2.2 and 3,000 ohms. This plug we would definitely throw out. Here was the offending plug in that same cylinder, okay, completely open almost, 81,000 ohms. This plug is not firing at all, hence it was wet, and it also puts a real load on the magneto. So we replaced all the plugs, new plugs, and the engine's running fine ever since with no backfires. So do check those plugs for resistance. Thanks. So one of the things you need to constantly check on your airplanes with the large cables, especially for those of you who have older airplanes, maybe non-builder owners, Vans actually had a service bulletin out for improperly crimped wires, and we still see these coming through. We'll show you a picture later here in the show because I forgot to video it. But you want to give a good tug on all of these, and you'll see the picture. This one actually pulled out, as did this one here and this one over here. So these have all been replaced, and other things have been recrimped with new connectors. So be sure and check those, okay? Before you start throwing batteries and new starters, because it won't crank very well. Yeah, so last week I picked up an RV12 that we'd done a pre-buy on down in Florida and brought it back to our shop for some service bulletins. And one of the things I noticed on the return flight is for an RV12, it was running rather hot, both on the, what I would call the cylinder head temp side, even though that's a water jacket, and it was just hotter than what I'm used to seeing. Most of the time, this time of year, we'll see below 200 Fahrenheit. This one was running 220, and the climate was running, 225 or so. And we got here, pulled the top cowling off because most RV12s do not overheat. They're water cooled. Here's a hose with an air inlet on some of the early model RV12s, which actually goes to a duct here that actually cools the inside portion of the engine here, the lower half of the cylinders. This was left completely off when it was reassembled. So, the lesson here is there's a lot of things that sometimes are needing to be disconnected and then reconnected when you put cowlings back on. Everything from cowl flap wires to heat ducts to fresh air ducts, etc. Maybe pay attention, make sure they all get connected, okay? Okay, self-serving promotion. Nobody promotes us but ourselves at Base Leg Aviation. Watch for a promo code coming up for Black Friday week. So Thanksgiving week here, we're going to put our books on sale. Go to our website, and I think there's going to be a 20% promo discount. So might be a nice way to give one of your loved ones with an RV a book.